if there is one thing I can guarantee that you will take away from this video, it is that it won't be some generic tips. These are going to be actionable items that you can apply today to start getting feedback and results from your pitches to brands. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another Tea at TT's. Today we are talking about pitching yourself to brands, specifically if you're a small creator, because let's face it, if you're a larger creator, you usually have an agency or management helping to field those inquiries and outbound inquiries. When you're a smaller creator, it's a lot more difficult to know the landscape, to navigate that terrain by yourself. I've been in the digital social media space for the better part of the last decade. Whether it was blogging, I was an editor at an online magazine, I have tried my hand at social creation, I have written articles for online publications. So I know a thing or two when it comes to what brands are looking for when you're pitching yourself to them. Now, I don't know everything, but if there is one thing I can guarantee that you will take away from this video, it is that it won't be some generic tips. These are going to be actionable items that you can apply today to start getting feedback and results from your pitches to brands. There's no gatekeeping here. I feel like there is enough abundance, enough product, enough success for everyone to go around. So my intention with this video is really to help you shine as brightly as you can, because it's hard out there for small creators, and I should know, I am one. When I soft launched Tea at TT's last episode, it was sort of unexpected and impromptu. So today I came prepared with my actual tea, because let's face it, it wouldn't be an episode of Tea at TT's if TT didn't have some tea. Today's tea is ginger. I have my little lighthouse mug. If you know, you know. That's like my personal brand icon. And I'm drinking the Yogi Tea brand, which if you've ever tried that brand, you know all of the little tea bags come with a little mantra or a saying. So today's is: the world needs your unique gifts. Don't leave with them still inside you, which I thought was perfectly applicable for all of you content creators and aspiring content creators out there, basically anyone with a dream to share. We are promoting full expression, full sense of self, honoring your truth, honoring your unique perspective, and we're going to share it with the world. So let's dive in. The first tip is something that I, at this moment in time, believe in wholeheartedly, and that is, if you're not already on the platform, you need to join ShopMy. ShopMy is the competitor to LTK. There's Magic Links. There's all sorts of platforms out here that do affiliate tracking, data, marketing. I really believe that ShopMy is the most competitive and the most accessible, especially for small creators. There's no barrier to entry. Yes, much like LTK, it has content tiers that you need to ascend, but to ascend the ladder is so much easier and happens so much more quickly than it does with a lot of the other platforms. Now, I say this because the content tiers matter. It used to be with ShopMy that if you join the platform, you would automatically have the opportunity to chat with brands. They have a number of different brands in their repertoire, and great brands too. Think Free People, think, what's Selena Gomez's brand called? Rare Beauty, think emerging brands that people are thinking are really cool. It has a whole roster of amazing companies, and a lot of times it's companies that other platforms like LTK don't have access to. It used to be that you could, as just somebody who signed up for the platform and created your shop, have access to chat with brands. Now they have it so that you need to be at least the second tier, which I believe is titled Icon, to be able to chat with brands. Still, it is so much easier to get to that stage than it is on all of the other platforms. Once you have the accessibility to chat with brands, you can really pitch yourself for anything. I think, yes, you can pitch yourself for collaborations if if you want to shoot for the stars. But even if you just wanted to see if they're gifting products to small creators, you have direct line of access to those brands, which as a small creator is completely invaluable. Something else I really love about the ShopMy platform is that the commission rates are super competitive. They're at 10, 15, 20, 30% commission rates. So if you are actually selling, you're making a good amount of money through your creative content creation efforts, which is really nice as a small creator. It can be really discouraging when you're just starting out, not seeing the tangible numbers, even though I'm a big advocate that the tangible numbers aren't the only basis for which you should judge how well you're doing as a creator. But the opportunity to make great money from these competitive commission rates is, like I said, completely invaluable. The last thing I really love about ShopMy is that it's super data driven. So say you reach out to a brand through the ShopMy portal and you don't get the response you're hoping for. Either you get no response or they say they're not gifting at this moment. A lot of those things can happen. Brand partnerships are really about synergy. It's not a reflection on how good or how big you are as a creator. It's just, does it make sense for you and for the brand at that time? If it does, great. If it doesn't, then it's just not the synergistic match that you thought it would be. Doesn't mean that it won't change down the road. That being said, ShopMy is doing a lot of work on the back end so that, let's say you really wanted to work with Rare Beauty and you weren't getting any responses back. Something you can do, and another thing that leads into a later tip, is you can start creating content where you mention Rare Beauty, feature their products. Every time you do that, if they are a brand partner for the ShopMy platform, data will collect in the back end, and that brand can see your enthusiasm, how many times you've mentioned their brand in the back end. So then you can, at a later date, go to the brand and say, look, I really love your brand. I've mentioned it X amount of times. You can look at this data and present yourself again for a potential partnership. That way the brand can really see your genuine enthusiasm and love for the brand, and your likelihood of getting a partnership, getting products gifted to you is much higher. I all around just love the ShopMy platform. I will leave a referral link in the description box. If you use my link, I get 10% of your 6 first months of sales. There's a benefit for you for signing up as well. So yeah, I'll leave that if you want to sign up through my link. Otherwise, just go to the website and sign up yourself. Like I said, there's no real barrier to entry. The platform is super intuitive. I love the way it's laid out. It's super easy to use, and you can start making commission on the things that you share right away. And you can work to get to that level where you can start chatting with brands and having direct access to them, which is so invaluable at this stage of the game. The second piece of advice I have is one that you've probably heard before, and it's that if you want to start pitching yourself to brands, you'll need to create a media kit. A media kit is basically a digital visual card that showcases who you are. It gives the brand quick hitting stats like your follower count on each of the platforms, your engagement rate, hard, tangible things that brands actually do look for. And it just tells the story about who you are, quick and dirty. It's like a resume, and a company looks at your resume and sees who else you've collaborated with in the past, what's your story, to see if it's a good fit. Now, I don't want this to intimidate people because yes, there are stats on there, which I think are important to include. You should include things like your follower count, your engagement rate, anybody that you've done past collaborations with. But I also think this is your opportunity to tell your unique perspective and your unique story, essentially what makes you special. It's really real estate to tell the story of who you are. On my media kit, for example, and if I can, I'll put examples on the screen. I have the story of me. Who is Tiana? What does she like to talk about? What is her unique POV? I'm really here to lead people to live a more resonant, curious, light-filled life. Hence the lighthouse. My content goes a bit deeper than topical layers. I like to ask questions. I like to connect on things like this. And so it's really my opportunity to showcase that. I showcase that through the copywriting, but I also showcase that through the images. They really get a feel of, if they want to engage in a partnership with me, this is what it looks like. And I think that is precious, precious real estate for you to tell your own story and what makes you special as a creator. We don't get that very often in the content creation space when so much of it, unfortunately, hinges upon these really quantitative stats like follower count. Creating a media kit does not have to be as intimidating as it sounds. You can sign up for a free trial of Canva, which is basically like Photoshop's arch nemesis. And there are so many templates. If you just search Media Kit, you can customize, add your own photos, look up tutorials for how to do it on YouTube. Within a matter of an hour or so, you can have a beautiful media kit that I 100% think that you should be including in your emails to pitches to brands. I always write in an email or a DM that I'm sending to a potential brand when I'm cold pitching them. Would love to work together on some content. Happy to send my media kit for ease of reference. And if they request it, which they usually do, I just send it over. Mine is about a 6-page PDF, but that's because I'm wordy and I like to include all of those qualitative aspects. But I've seen media kits that are 1-page, 2-page. It really just depends on who you are and what fits best for your brand. The next tip that I have feeds into the ShopMy a little bit and kind of references back to what I said, but it is start creating organic content for the brands you want to work with. Create a master list of your dream brands that you would like to work with. Shoot for the stars. You can put Louis Vuitton on there. You can put Sephora. You can also put smaller brands, that are emerging that you think are cool and doing cool things in their space. Then from there, decide, okay, do I have any resources right now? Do I own any rare beauty products that I can already start organically sharing my love and enthusiasm for the brand so that you can almost build a little portfolio? For example, I just pitched a hair care company that I love and that I use frequently. I want to start doing some user-generated content for them because I am, now that you can tell today, a curly-haired girl. There is a gap in the market. More and more brands are requesting curly-haired tutorials and things like that, and I just felt like it would be a really synergistic fit. Well, I had already created multiple newsletters where I mentioned their products being my favorite. I created a curly hair routine where I featured their products, and when I went to go pitch them, I said, I'm a big advocate and admirer of the brand. I've already created content here, here, and here. Here are the tangible examples. I hyperlinked to them. I would love the opportunity to work more with you on any active campaigns that you might have attached to my media kit. And I think when brands can see your genuine admiration and enthusiasm for the brand, that you're not just in it to get free products or look a certain way, that you genuinely want to tell the story of their brand through your own unique lens, brands see that as incredibly invaluable, and I feel as though it increases your chances of working together. And I think that's a really important point, right? If you're in this business because you want the glamorous after effects of what having an audience can afford you, free products and free trips and prestige and all of these things, I'm not going to say that you're in the wrong field or in it for the wrong reasons, but I would encourage you to reflect a little bit more deeply. Content creation is at its heart storytelling. It's because you feel you have something unique to share and you want to share that with the world. I've said in many videos before that if you have any inkling to do this career at all, it's because there's something in you that longs to share and be seen, especially at this stage in the game when we are so fresh and we don't have that muscle of follower count behind us. It is so important to lean on those qualitative aspects like your creativity, like your unique method of storytelling. Maybe you have a specific way or aesthetic that you like to shoot your videos. That is the stuff that's tangible for brands to grasp onto, coupled with your sincere enthusiasm for the brand. People can feel that through the screen, that you are passionate about this brand, that you're passionate about what you're saying. And that is going to be so valuable every single time. So at this stage, it's incredibly important to capitalize on that and to start creating as if you're already partnering with these brands so that when you're ready to reach the stage to pitch yourself to them, you already have this full portfolio of content that you can lean on and showcase to them so that they can visualize what it might be like to work with you. If you want to take that one step further together, you could also create a pitch for that specific brand. This could be, here's what I envision, here are my ideas for how we could work together. You could create a deck where you create a mood board, give examples of other content that you could see you getting inspiration from for your project with that brand. This just helps to further paint the idea of what it's like to work with you when you have to imagine that these brands and these companies are getting hundreds of thousands of requests to work together a day. What's going to distinguish you is you really giving so much detail and vividness to what it could look like for you two to work together. Yes, they are giving you product or money in return for creating content, but in turn, they're gaining your unique voice and your unique storytelling perspective for their brand. Like I said, that's synergy. The last two tips that I have are a little bit more generic, but like I said, I think that there are some actionable items here that can really help and be applicable to what you're doing. So the first is have courage and have faith. As small creators, we can focus so intensely on the gap between where we are and where we want to be, and we can let that negativity seep into our strategy as creators. We can say, oh, of course, this person's not going to want to work with us because I'm small, or I don't have the follower count, or whatever it is, whatever that mental block is that keeps you from reaching out. You miss 100% of the shots that you don't take. You have to have faith in your unique POV. That's the truth, right? The tea bag told us everybody has something unique to share, whether it's a quirk or an idiosyncrasy, whether it's an experience that you went through in the past that is unlike anybody else. It could really be anything, but the more that you can have faith in what you have to say and the way you have to say it, the more people buy into it. And people might not see it at first, but that's why you have to work to strengthen the muscle every single day of being so compassionate and so tender with yourself. This is a very delicate process. There are going to be a lot of bruises to ego. There are going to be a lot of no's, but that's just because the synergy either isn't there or they just can't see it yet. We declare how people see and treat us through our actions. So at this stage, it is pivotal that you continue to show up for yourself, that you continue to believe in yourself, that you continue to paint this vision even when people are squinting their eyes and they can't really see it yet. You have to hold that vision steadfast and have courage and faith when you're reaching out to these brands that you have something special, A, to say, and B, to bring to the table for that negotiation. Which leads me to my final tip, and that is reach out, baby. You have to go for it. And there are some really tangible ways that you can reach out, which is more of the actionable portion that I'm talking about. I find that the easiest ways to reach out are through email, through Instagram DM, or through ShopMy. If you choose to go the email route, a lot of times you can find the contact in the footer of the website. In the contact section, what you want to look for is either the press, the social media, or the partnerships email. A lot of times companies will have their generic email that sends all of the inquiries that are general about an order or just general inquiries, but the press, partnerships, and social emails go specifically to either those in-house teams that are handling all of those communications, or a lot of times companies will hire externally, press companies and things like that are representing the brand. So you want to be sure that you're looking for those specific emails. If you can't find that specific email on the website in the footer, a lot of times I'll reach out via DM and just say, hey, I'm a huge fan of the brand, would love to create some content for you guys. Is there a good press contact that I can reach out to send my media kit and more information? You can ask about partnerships on socials, and sometimes the person who's handling socials handles influencer marketing and content creators, but a lot of times that person is just doing social media management, which is a job in and of itself, and they don't really have the bandwidth or the capacity to talk about partnerships, so you'll just have them direct you to the appropriate contact. And then, like I said, ShopMy is a great way to access brands directly. I believe there's even like pre-filled out prompts that are like, can I have a discount code for my audience? Would you be willing to gift me product to create content? Would you be interested in a collaboration? So I cannot stress ShopMy enough. Those are really my tips for pitching to brands. I could list a bunch more, but this video would be miles and miles long. And to spare you guys, I figured we would cut it off here. If there are specific questions that you have about pitching yourself to brands, about the space in general, feel free to leave me a comment. I'm always diligent about responding to my comments. I would be happy to answer any questions that you have with the capacity that I have and the knowledge that I have. I think the biggest piece of advice that I can give you, all of these actionable items are great, and when built upon, come together to form some really actionable steps that you can apply to your career. And I really do think that they can get you far. I've gotten so many gifting opportunities, so many partnership opportunities through these methods, but these methods are nothing compared to you getting your mental game in shape. Content creation is a tough space. It's you saying, I'm willing to be vulnerable and try this thing that I may not be the best at yet in a very public forum. That takes a lot of guts to say in front of friends and family and people that you may not know that are following along. This is what I want to do, and I may not be the best at it yet, but I know that if I work hard enough, eventually I will get to the places that I want to be. Don't underestimate how much courage that takes. And like I said before, be tender with yourself. Remember that your worth is not found in the amount of likes that you get on an Instagram post, or in how many followers you have, or in how rapidly you grow. You are painting a bigger brand, a bigger picture, a bigger vision for the world to see. And you just have to have belief in that, even if what is predominantly valued in this space is the quantifiable things like numbers. You know, I always think back to Kanye West, which is a polarizing example, but he arguably is one of the greatest rappers of our generation. And if you watched his documentary or his docu-series, you'll see him at major record labels passing out his mixtapes, and people just don't care, but they couldn't see the vision yet. Don't give up on yourself. Don't let other people who don't know you, don't know your value, don't know your worth, dictate how you feel about what it is you're doing and this career you're trying to create for yourself. Keep going, keep building. Every step is a step forward. Eventually, you will get to the places that you want to be, and the brands that see your worth, see your value, will want to work with you. And those are the people that you want to work with because the synergy is there. It's not forcing a square peg into a round hole. It is a perfect match. When that happens, it's just magic. So keep going. You've got this. Let me know if you have any questions. And until the next Tea at TTs, we'll see you soon. Happy creating.